with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Friday edition of the Paranormal Portal. A special thank you, of course, to Freaky Friday for warming it all up and setting the stage and opening the gap a little bit there.
Ready for the main act.
Preparing the stage for us. I don't know, it's a really hard act to follow, but we love the Freaky Friday guys. Kev, of course, Naysay, and Joe Joseph as well. It was cool to hear Joe again. I love listening to Joe, and it's been a long time, but it's good to hear him again and hear him on the show with Kev and with Naysay. It was a great show. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful night. But before I go any further, let me introduce my good friend, my co-host, the other half, the yang to my yin.
Oh boy.
The big toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing, brother?
The only reason I'm the big toe is I'm the guy who drives everywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're a good driver. And I mean that very complimentary because I don't ride well in most people's cars. I don't.
He rides just fine in my car because he's usually asleep.
I usually zonk out and take advantage of the road to catch up on some sleep, and Don, of course, brings us home safely every time.
There you go.
It works out really well.
Wow, what a great show we had on Wednesday though with Bear, huh?
Oof, yeah, dude.
I didn't even notice 2 hours go by. It was like that.
Yeah, Bear's a great storyteller. He's got so many insights and ideas and anecdotes of course the Bigfoot phenomena.
Oh, okay.
It's real easy to just turn on the lights and let them roll because
exactly.
It's great.
Lights, cameras. Go ahead, Bear.
Take it away, Bear. And you just introduce him and we're off to the races. But it was a great show, and a lot of you guys have been enjoying it. It's really one of the most fast climbing shows as far as views we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
And thank you all for that. We hope you enjoy it. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, get subscribed. To those of you on YouTube's, we love to have you guys subscribe. But we have a special guest coming up tonight for the first hour.
Really?
And that is Mr. Naysay is going to be joining us. That's right, Mr. Naysay.
Nice.
He's going to be joining us for hour number 1 here on the portal. We're just waiting for him to get all geared up and probably hydrated a bit after being on a Freaky Friday for 3 hours.
3 hours.
He's coming over for hour number 4. And next Friday, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do the Friday the 13th crossover show where I'm going to be on Freaky Friday and for 3 hours. And then Freaky Friday is going to be on the portal for 2 hours. So it'll be 5 hours.
A freaky portal.
A freaky portal of paranormal woo for your listening enjoyment and viewing pleasure. If you happen to check it out on YouTube's, of course, the Kev Baker Show YouTube is out there, and we're out there on YouTube in case you're just listening. But we are streaming live right now on YouTube, as a matter of fact. So,
wow.
All right. I guess I haven't got a notice from him yet. So what do you think, Don? Should we roll the news?
We'll do the news.
Let's start the news, and maybe Nacy will join us as we go. But prepare yourself. It's time for the Paranormal Portal news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. It's exactly the same desk as it was before, but it's now the Paranormal Portal News Desk, and I'm now a news anchor, as is Don. He's my co-anchor on the Paranormal Portal Newscast.
Does that mean I get to sync everything?
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
So if you take an electric chainsaw and you use it as an anchor and you leave it plugged in, do you kill all the fish?
I'm betting maybe if they're in the neighborhood, but you're probably going to kill your chainsaw.
Well, that's definite.
But let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a bunch of news articles pulled up for your entertainment. Not all of these are real paranormal, but they're all definitely unusual, so that makes them paranormal by default. So we're going to dive into these. Here's kind of a cool one. I was so excited to see this one, so I was like, ooh, we got to cover this on the show. So I'm going to cover that on the show right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the first article that we're covering on the Paranormal Portal News is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And it is an article entitled, Evidence of Life on Mars May Have Been Erased.
By who? Let's get into this and find out.
I know, that's what I was saying. I was like, ooh, we got to get that one on the show. All right, NASA's Curiosity rover has discovered that evidence of ancient life on the red planet may have been scrubbed. Mm-hmm. Scrubbed, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a very earthling word.
It is. I don't think the aliens probably use that word, but it means the same thing.
Well, we hope. We hope it was the aliens that scrubbed it.
Right.
Not the other people.
There's nowhere beyond the Earth more tantalizing in the search for evidence of ancient alien life than Mars, a world that was once very much like our own planet with oceans, lakes, and rivers. While today it is an arid, desolate place, scientists have long hoped that evidence of its watery past and the organisms that may have thrived during that time can still be found there. Now, though, a new study has revealed that at least some of the potential evidence of past life on Mars may have been erased through geological process that may be common across the planet.
Gotcha.
It's much less sensational now, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Well,
no, I don't think so. I'm just glad it wasn't the government that was scrubbing it.
Yeah.
You know,
like they got up there.
Bleach.
There's a bunch of people pushing brooms and stuff on Mars.
You found anything yet? Man, we ain't found
nothing. All right. Clay is often seen as a valuable material in the search for evidence of life, both because it forms when rocky minerals weather away after contact with water and because it's also good at preserving microbial fossils. When Curiosity recently took samples from an ancient mudstone at the site of a dried-up lake bed, however, some of it contained significantly fewer clay minerals than would have been expected. Scientists now believe that brine, which is essentially very salty water, may have leaked into the clay layers and destabilized them, wiping away potential signs of biological life. We used to think that once these layers of clay minerals formed at the bottom of the lake in Gale Crater, they stayed that way, preserving the moment in time they formed for billions of years, said study lead author Tom Bristow. But later, brines broke down these clay minerals in some places, essentially resetting the rock record.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so it was just a matter of geological processes, but it sounded incredibly sensational. So if you want to preserve stuff in clay, don't put salt water on it. I think that's the takeaway here, Don.
Very good.
I'm just saying, it might be good information for somebody out there. Do not introduce briny water to your clay, and that maybe may include ceramics. I don't know. Here's a new one. This is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Weird limbless amphibians found in the U.S. That's right. They look like snakes, but them's not snakes, Don. Those are in fact amphibians, and it says scientists have discovered an ancient species of worm-like amphibian in Florida for the first time.
Wow.
Typically native to Colombia and Venezuela, the Rio Cauca, what the hell? Sicilian, or that other word there, right here. I'm highlighting it for those of you watching. Grows up to around a half a meter in length and resembles a large limbless worm.
Wow.
Believed to date back hundreds of millions of years, these things typically spend most of their time either underground or in fresh water, and until now had never been seen in the United States. After one was caught in Florida in 2019, however, there have since been several other sightings. Very little is known about these animals in the wild, but there's nothing particularly dangerous about them, and they don't appear to be serious predators, said herpetologist Coleman Sheehy. They'll typically eat small animals and get eaten by larger ones, and this could be just another non-native species in South Florida mix. It currently remains unclear how the creatures ended up in Florida. However, considering the number of invasive species currently found in the state, it is perhaps not all that surprising.
Not really.
According to Sheehy, the recently found specimen could be a pet that someone released into the wild. I don't think we'd one day find these things in Florida, he said. So this was a huge surprise. And there you go. Could it be, though, that they're making a comeback? We've heard other places are seeing these animals that were extinct in those locations suddenly coming back. So could this be another case of that? Maybe.
So I have a quick question.
Sure.
Why didn't they just say 1.5 feet instead of half a meter?
I don't know why they do that. They cater to the metric. I don't know. It confuses me. Except I know what a meter is generally.
It's all Greek to me.
It's all metric to me, which is almost the same thing. But there you have it. New species, or perhaps it was just a pet, but it's been found in Florida. So we got that going for us. We don't need to go other places to see them anymore.
Yeah, you can find all kinds of crazy things in Florida.
Indeed you can, sir.
Indeed you can.
Indeed you can.
Make it so.
All right, so let's go to the next article. See what we got here. The next article is, this one I think might be good. I think this is the Harvard guy that was talking about Oumuamua. And this is an article again from unexplained-mysteries.com. Avi Loeb on finding evidence of alien life. Astrophysicist Avi Loeb has long advocated in favor of scientific investigation into the UFO phenomena. Harvard University's Avi Loeb is the name that has become increasingly familiar in recent years thanks to his involvement in efforts to find verifiable evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. His latest endeavor, the Galileo Project, aims to look for alien technosignatures, evidence of sophisticated extraterrestrial technology far out in space. In a recent interview with Arun Rath of Boston's GBH Radio, he provided additional insight into this, as well as the recent released Pentagon report on unidentified aerial phenomena. So if we examine new data on the sky and find a mundane explanation to all these UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, so be it, he said. We learned something new. There must be some exotic phenomena taking place in our atmosphere. The only way we don't learn something new is if we say business as usual. Let's ignore it, and we ridicule anyone that tries to suggest that we should get more evidence. On the topic of the Pentagon's UFO report, he added, well, unfortunately, the data that was released to the public is not of high enough quality. It was obtained in a jittery camera that was in the cockpit of a fighter jet, and that's not the kind of data you can use for a scientific investigation because you don't have full control over your experimental setup. And in science, you cannot rely on eyewitness testimonies. What you need is instruments that record quantitative data that you analyze, and that's what we plan to get, rather than rely on past testimonies or past reports that do not stand up to the scrutiny of modern science. Let's just get the data and figure it out. I like this guy, I really do, because at least he's asking the questions, you know.
And he's down to earth about it.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you know what? We need empirical evidence.
Right. We need evidence. And I like the statement, let's not just ignore it and ridicule people that are seeing things we don't understand. Let's look at it. Let's see if we can find something out. We can learn something from it and get the evidence. So I think that that's very, very powerful. I think it is, folks. Let me just check this. I got a message somewhere in here. What is that? Oh, yes, of course we want to use Skype. Okay, let me get him on the call here. Hold on. We now have Mr. Naysay standing in the wings here, so let's get him up. Okay. Resolution. Okay, there we are. Let me add him. Did that actually work? Yeah. Calling. Okay. We're calling him, ladies and gentlemen. Beep. We don't have the sound effects, but
it's a busy signal.
We can make him. Ring number 1. Ring number 2.
Oh boy.
Did it answer?
Could I be here?
You could be here. You should be here. You're supposed to be here, and thank God you're here. So,
well, thanks something. The heavens above. Thank Donnie, Brent, Donnie. What an incredible opportunity. Here I am again with you two. What a delight in my darkness.
Well, you are a light in our darkness, Naysay, and thanks for joining us. We are currently going through the Paranormal Portal news, so you can join us in our quick discussions. We got to squeeze this in before the first break, so but here we go. Here's the next article. Are you ready, Naysay?
You lead and I shall follow.
Okay. You ready, Don?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, here we go. There's a new study, apparently, according to unexplained-mysteries.com, that new study links dopamine to consciousness. That's right, folks. We are conscious thanks to dopamine. Who knows? Oh, dear God. Well, that's it for that article. Good God.
It's a little too sciencey.
It's way too sciencey, but there you go, folks. You can research it on your own. We don't have time. That'd be like an hour-long article. That was huge. I just screened all of them. I thought I must have missed that one.
You only screened the first 3 paragraphs of it, apparently.
Well, I didn't. I must have skipped that one because I always check them. I was like, is this one of those really long ones? And that one was. So we're not going to get into it. But that's what a new study says, and that's news. We're just reading the headlines on that one, ladies and gentlemen. Moving along. We got our next one is unexplainedmysteries.com tells us the magic jar bore deadly curse in ancient Athens.
Yeah, it was called Pandora's box.
Ooh, was it? So it wasn't a box at all. It was a jar. They didn't say that. Archaeologists have discovered a jar that was once used to bestow a deadly curse on 55 people.
Wow.
Dating back 2,300 years, the jar was unearthed beneath a commercial building in the Agora of Athens. Its unnerving contents, coupled with the fact that someone had driven a large iron nail through it, have led researchers to conclude that its purpose was to deliver a deadly curse. The pot contained the dismembered head and lower limbs of a young chicken. Eesh.
Wow, okay.
I thought that said children at first. I was like, wrote Jessica Lamont of Yale University. All exterior surfaces of the jar were originally covered with text, and it once carried over 55 inscribed names, dozens of which now survive only as scattered floating letters and faint stylus strokes. Exactly who these named individuals were and what they had done to get on the wrong side of whoever was responsible for placing the jar at this location remains unclear. The ritual assemblage belongs to the realm of the Athenian binding curses, and aimed to bind or inhibit the physical and cognitive faculties of the named individuals, wrote Lamont. It was certainly composed by people or persons with a good knowledge of how to cast a powerful curse. The sheer number of the names makes an impending lawsuit the most likely scenario. What?
What?
This wasn't ancient? You mean is it new? Wait a minute. It says archaeologists have discovered.
Yeah, and it dated back 2,300 years.
Yeah, but now the sheer number of names makes an impending lawsuit the most likely scenario. I don't even know what the hell that means. I think it must have been a joke, but I'm confused more than anything. What do you think, Naysay?
Well, was it originally a portal or a door before it became a jar?
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
Wow. Wait a minute. I'm going to give him this one.
Leave it to Naysay.
That's pretty awesome. It was a jar. You're right. I never even thought of that. Oh my God. Yeah, that's clever. I'm not real clever when it comes to those kind of jokes. I don't even get them at first.
Well, that's okay, because when you said there was a giant iron spike through it, I was like, how'd they get it through the glass? And then I realized, it's probably a clay jar.
Clay. It was probably clay. And which still makes putting a spike through it tricky, I would think.
Well, yeah.
I would think. Let's see how we're doing on the clock here. That's not it. This is it. 7 minutes. Okay, I think we're good. All right, here's the next one. And this one I think is kind of interesting. Oh, God, is this long? It's not long, is it? No, it's pretty short. Good. It does have a video. What the hell did I just do? Yeah, isn't that what I wanted? No.
I don't know.
What did I just do?
Hey, you're in control over there.
Not really. This control's an illusion. Control's an illusion, Don. But I am now. I've recovered control of the portal computer. All right, so here's an article, ladies and gentlemen. Again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. A great site. Check it out if you're into the Fortean news and topics, because it's a great site full of lots of them. So, this is a light detected from behind a black hole.
Oh.
I thought this was really incredible because, I mean, this black hole, they're not supposed to let anything out. But let's see what it says. The unexpected discovery succeeds in proving Einstein's theory of general relativity right. Relativity.
It was relatively right.
Relativity.
That's easy for you to say.
Not really at all. Not at all. Once again. During recent observations of X-rays flaring from the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy, almost 2 billion light years away, scientists picked up something they hadn't expected to see. Peculiar luminous echoes from an unknown origin. To add to the mystery, these echoes were smaller and arrived later than the X-ray flares. The scientists soon realized that what they were witnessing was something very special. The first direct detection of light from behind a black hole. Einstein had previously described how this was possible because massive objects like black holes can literally warp the fabric of the universe, curving and distorting space-time. Any light that goes into the black hole doesn't come out, so we shouldn't be able to see anything that's behind the black hole, said Stanford University's Dan Wilkins. The reason we can see that is because the black hole is warping space, bending light, and twisting magnetic fields around itself. It seems that once again, Einstein was right all along. There is an article or a video that goes with it, but I'm not going to share it here because, of course, many of our listeners are working from an audio-only platform, but I will absolutely paste it in the chat rooms. If anybody's interested in check out the video that accompanies that, then you may very well do it. One more paste to go, and there we go. All right, so we got 4 minutes left and no more articles, so we're good. So, Naysay, how you doing, man?
I am doing as fantastic as the universe will allow. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the opportunity for being here. Once again, it's been way too long.
It has.
And it's a little exciting and a little nerve-wracking because we all may recall my absolute love for you two gentlemen and that extra little smidgen of love I give Donnie. So it is so good to be here, and it's enjoyable to be lurking and listening to you gentlemen and the experiences that you guys get to do, the squatching last week.
Yeah.
I hope
we did the Squatch
found
Fest.
Something.
We did the Squatch Fest, so it was a festival basically. But before we get into that, let me just do this. We got to get back to our regularly scheduled program.
Oh.
And
that
means
thought.
Close the portal news. I'm a little rusty on my buttons, Naysay, but I'm getting it back.
I get told I push all the right buttons.
Well, that is one thing that I have been enjoying also is how you've brought in some more sound effects, and you're getting quick on the buttons.
Absolutely, because it's the magic of broadcasting.
And the love just continues to flow.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing our best. We got to keep up with Kev. He's setting the bar pretty high, so we're doing our best to keep up and stay in the game, as it were. But yeah, we went to the Squatch Fest, had a great time.
Yep.
When we come back from break, which is just a few minutes away, I want to get into that story that you just shared on Freaky Friday, and of course, for our listeners here. I want you to tell that story again. You know the one I'm talking about, where you woke up and
Oh, yes.
yeah. So because
The woo of my world.
the woo of your world, and that was some significantly impressive woo, and I want to get into that because that was an incredible story, brother. That's some pretty freaky stuff.
Well, that is the excitement of my world. I can't really explain it, and there's been years where I made the decision not to share how far my experiences have been. But as I've shared with you over the past 6 years now, 7 years.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Wow.
I think 6 years. Maybe are we on 7 years now for the show?
No.
6 years, right? This is year number 6 for the show.
Right. Yes. April of 16. So yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we're getting there.
Well, a long time. A long time.
Yeah.
We've been sharing my strangeness, and it's always a joy to come back and share more, because coming up next week, we've been calling it the Freaky Paranormal Friday Portal.
Wow.
It's a mouthful. Yeah, that'll be great.
5 hours of woo.
5 hours of
Paranormal.
Absolutely. That's going to be an epic production, I'm sure. It always has been. We've done it twice now, and both times have been a really fantastic time. We really have a great time combining the shows and all the, I don't know. It's just the synchronicity between our shows is pretty seamless. So it's pretty easy for us to just ball up into one place and do.
Rock in the corner.
Why do we do this? Not at all. It's always a great thing. And I've had a blast both times, and those 5 hours shoot by. 3 hours of Freaky Friday, 2 hours of the portal, and they're just gone in a blink. It's like, wow, how did we do that? But
This is the latest that we've been talking about on Freaky Friday, on how quick, like a blink of an eye, the show's over.
I know. Yeah. Don and I have been saying that for years here too. It's just like, how did we get to the last break already? How did that happen? Shouldn't be possible. But it is like a time-space anomaly, it really is.
Welcome to the portal.
Welcome to our portal. Yeah, and certainly the Freaky Friday shows go blazingly fast as well, but that's just great entertainment.
Uh-oh.
There's the bell, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to break number 1. We will be back shortly. We're joined by our great friend, Mr. Nace, from Freaky Friday, and he's going to be on with us for the next half hour as well. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. that was a great break. I tell you what. No, I didn't do anything. I just sat here. And I remember the candles weren't lit, so I had to light those up. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Half hour number 2 is upon us here on the Paranormal Portal. Of course, Don is here with me there. As you're looking on the screens, he's over there. And we have a special guest for the first hour here on the show, and this is Mr. Naysay, who is joining us from the wilds of Minnesota in the Fargo area. And he, of course, is alumni of Freaky Friday. Welcome to the show, brother.
Again, thank you for the opportunity, a fellow Minnesotan. Yeah, you betcha.
You betcha, don't you know? I know. It's that Fargo talk from the movie,
Fargo
right?
talk.
Well, did you ever see that movie, Naysay?
Did
you?
Oh, yes. I've witnessed the wood chipper, and that's one of the reasons why I don't cross the river very often, because in North Dakota, it is still a law that you can shoot a Indian from a covered wagon. And
Wow.
since I am blind, I wouldn't see it coming. I might hear those old wagon wheels a squeaking, but why take chances?
Yeah,
Wow.
you'd suck at dodging that. That's for sure. But
Well, that's okay. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Nobody would shoot at him.
No.
He's not an Indian. He is a First Nations.
that's right. There
That's
are no
right.
there
are no Indians in here.
that's true.
Thank goodness.
That's true. You are First Nations, Indigenous Americans, as it were. So you should be safe.
I like the label of Paleo American.
Paleo Americans.
That
Okay.
sounds
All
that's pretty
right.
impressive.
Yeah, we dug this one up last week.
But it's good to have you on the show, brother. And I want to get into this because I think this is an incredibly epic story. And again, you just shared this on Freaky Friday. But I got to ask you to repeat it because I was mesmerized by this. And I'm just puzzled and perplexed by this experience. It's really got my wheels spinning. So would you mind repeating what you said on Freaky Friday?
Yeah, not at all. So as some people may know or not know, I am blind and in a wheelchair. And because of the debilitating health issues that I have, I need assistance getting in and out of bed. Well, there has been more than one moment in my experience when my partner would assist me getting into bed, and we would get into bed, and then she would get me out of bed. And the first occasion, she sat me up in bed, and usually after she sits me up, she would grab a shirt to put a shirt on me.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to put a shirt on me, and then all of a sudden she's like, what the heck? A little more colorful than that.
Yeah.
And I feel her peel something off my back. And she peels a stick and a leaf off of my back. And she's like, this was not on you when we went to bed. This was not in the bed. This wasn't on your skin when we took off your shirt and everything. And I'm in a wheelchair.
Right.
So I don't get on the ground. I don't get around sticks and leaves. Yes, there's the possibility that a stick fell behind me, but how did it get under my shirt and on my skin? And so this was the first time we noticed it. And then for maybe like a half a year, this would occur where we would wake up and there would be like grass or sticks or leaves stuck to my body or under my body or in the area of where I'm laying.
Wow.
So, when you try to hypothesize, what could this be?
Mm-hmm.
I have had the fortunate experience of witnessing what is called UFOs throughout my lifetime.
Uh-huh.
And so my speculation, of course, it's speculation because I don't know. My partner could just be messing with me. I do not know what it was, but I would speculate that there's a good potential that I was abducted.
Wow.
And I've pondered it before
Mm-hmm.
about doing hypnotherapy.
Sure. Yep.
But then as I research more about hypnotherapy, it makes me a little bit nervous about somebody messing with the subconscious.
Sure.
And that gives me a little bit reluctant that maybe not just take it for what it's worth, because I have always been fascinated about UFOs since I was a child.
Sure.
And since I was a child, I witnessed different things. So now that I'm bringing it up again, shall it happen?
Right.
Definitely share if it does.
That's really incredible, because I mean, again, you're not physically mobile on your own in that regard. There's no way you just got up, couldn't sleep, and went for a walk and laid in the yard or something. I mean, that's just not. It's not in the realm of possibility. So what exactly happened there is absolutely fascinating. So it seems as though you went somewhere and something happened to you. And again, since you have a history of sightings and seeing these things throughout your life, then I guess that is really a strong possibility, or at least it's plausible. Of course, some people would say, no, that's implausible. That's not possible. But it is. There's a lot of people that have experienced the abduction, that have abduction experiences, and these people are from all walks of life. It's not just, the unemployed person in a trailer park somewhere, not putting down anybody, but the stereotypes that people like to throw at that. Oh, those are just the weirdos, living in a shack somewhere and trying to make up fantastical stories. But there's some incredibly credible witnesses that have allegedly experienced these events, and I don't know. It's very, very intriguing. I don't know.
Well, to add to it, if I may,
Please.
Bring you another story.
Yeah.
1995, excuse me, 1995, a dear friend of mine, the year I had to give up riding my motorcycle because my health had gotten to the point of where I was walking with a cane.
Uh-huh.
And I was really depressed because I was supposed to go to Sturgis that summer.
Oh.
And so a dear friend of mine said, hey, let's go to the Black Hills. Let's go to Bear Butte, because as a Paleo American, I find these incredible ritual sites, ceremonial sites fascinating.
Right.
So we took off for the Black Hills. So we go through the Black Hills, and then we go down south to the Wounded Knee Massacre, and the whole experience was just magical.
Right.
So on our way back, we went through the Badlands. And we pull into the Badlands, and we find this obscure campsite, and it's basically a big circle, and people would camp inside the center of the circle. Well, to predicate this, I have experienced pizza toppings of the magical nature, and I cannot confirm or deny that I may or may not have eaten my body's weight in pizza toppings.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that day we ate pizza toppings, and then we climbed up the hill, and then we climbed up further up the hill. And then on the way back down the hill, we came across this area where a bison fight occurred, where two bison fought.
Wow.
And in this fighting, we found tufts of hair, and you could see where the grass was pushed back, and you could see where their foots, where they were facing off and where they knocked each other down. And I collected the fur of this bison and kept it. I still have it to this day.
Uh-huh.
So we get back to our campsite. We make a wild rice hot dish. We eat and we go to bed. While we're sleeping, and because of my physical nature, my buddy would have to help me lean back, and I would walk my feet into the tent because it's just a little dome tent.
Sure.
And I was laying with my feet to the back of the tent from the door. In the middle of the night, I wake up to the tent being illuminated to where my original thought was a vehicle is coming towards the tent. At first I was like, oh, geez, a car is coming and we're going to get ran over.
Right.
Was my original thought.
Sure.
But it wasn't moving. It was just illuminated. But then all of a sudden, I got the impression like children were walking towards me. Oh. And then I remember going, jammer. And then that's all I remember.
Oh, wow.
So we wake up the next morning. I crawl out of the tent because I have to use the bathroom. I stand up, and not 20 yards away from me, right across the road, was this huge bison just standing there staring at me. And I'm just like, what the, again, one of these moments in my world where it's just like, this is too bizarre to be true. And so I'm like, Jammer. And he's like, what? I'm like, get your camera. And he crawls out of the tent and he brings his camera, and it was close enough that he got a picture of the bison.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, dude, did I try waking you up at night? And he's like, what? And then all of a sudden it just kind of came to me about the experience of witnessing this bright light and seemingly children walking towards the tent, because you can see the shadow of it. And he's like, no, I don't remember this. And I'm like, come on, dude, really? And to this day, we go back and forth, because this happened July 4th of 1995. And every time July 4th comes around, we call each other, and I keep saying, dude, do you remember when we were abducted? And he's like, we weren't abducted. And I'm like, you can't remember the night. He's like, we did mushrooms. I'm like, but it was in the middle of the night. What? So we go back and forth with the story of it. And that was my first time where I really pondered if I'm visited.
Right.
And then it gets into the whole thing of like, why me?
Right.
Why me? Why, out of the 7 billion people in the planet, and then you look more and more into the, the abduction research or the UFO phenomenon, and you find out that there's these similarities of the stories, so then it's just, it's too hard to just poo-poo it.
Right.
When there are so many people having these same experiences. But the speculation I'll put out there, that if there is entity A from wherever, inner Earth, outer Earth, extraterrestrial, interterrestrial, if there's group A and they're going to come and check you out, then I'm going to make the assumption that their dichotomy or their enemy, or those that oppose group A, say group B, they're going to come and check you out also, because they want to know what's going on with group A. And then here on this planet, I also believe that the powers that should not be, they will also visit you, because they want to know what's going on with group A and group B. But I will proclaim that there is more than group A and more than group B. There is probably all the way A to Z entities out there. That there's not just the Greys, not just the insectoids, not just the reptilians, not just the Nordics, not just the Palladians. There's a plethora.
Sure.
And I think it's like they talk about the logic and the vastness of the universe, that if all of those stars represent our sun, and all of those suns have all of those planetoids, and all those planetoids has their own parameters of existence, then I would have to say logically there are entities out there.
Sure.
And I would even speculate further that I believe, I think, I feel that on every planet in our solar system, that there is a biosphere that is set up with the parameters of where we as humans defined can exist. And that there is more or less a group, that will say, yes, are we advanced enough to inform them that this is the reality of nature? Or are we still under that control of the powers that should not be? Are they manipulating us? But it's all speculation. Well, because I don't know. I am the stupidest man I know.
Here's something I did find. I thought this was kind of interesting, because you found the buffalo hair first, and then the next morning you saw the buffalo. And so I just did a quick search and said, what is the significance of the buffalo totem? And it says, buffalo is a spirit guide. When buffalo appears as your spirit animal, abundance and liberation are on the way. Buffalo as a totem animal belongs only to the most earth-centered and selfless souls. Invoke buffalo as your power animal when you need the strength to carry heavy burdens. So I thought that was kind of beautiful, you know.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That, you know, of course, I'll say I'm a hypocrite, but I am trying to be a positive entity. And I guess if it's abundantly clear, I do go through some struggles.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, but in that beauty of going through the struggles, I am fortunate to be able to find a positive attitude to go through it. And when I find myself not being able to have a positive attitude, all I have to do is think of Donnie and his long beard.
Oh, goodness.
That'll bring a smile to everyone's face.
Except mine.
Except yes, he's got to maintain that, and that can't be easy.
That cool stoic demeanor.
Yeah. No, I think it's fascinating. I think that the experiences with the UFOs, I think, is a big key. I mean, if you're continually seeing them, there's obviously anybody who's looked into the phenomenon at all will know that generally they continually come back to the same people. Like, and I don't know if maybe somewhere on you've been tagged with some of those, you know, implants or whatever.
It was a probe suppository. That's why you can't.
Donnie, you said we couldn't talk about that.
But
totally Homo sapien. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we try. I'm just gonna leave that lay there before I get demonetized. But I will say that it wouldn't surprise me a bunch because they've been known to be generational experiencers, where they will follow a bloodline or anything. Do you know of anybody else in your lineage who's also had experiences with seeing UFOs or anything like that?
Well, as a Paleo American, my mother told me that our family is sensitive, and I don't know if it's just the romanticism or if it's the nostalgia of, you know, the Native Americans, you know, that ennobled savage, you know, but it could be easily argued that the indigenous people of North America still have a stronger connection to the realm of Earth or Mother Earth, or we call it Aki.
Okay.
You know, so maybe that connection is there, and maybe that tie is even greater there, because if my genetic composition is almost half of this continent, would that not also give me a closer tie to this continent? So maybe I'm able to tune in more so than others. But I think it's like when you ponder about buying a red car, and then all of a sudden you're seeing red cars all over. I think that is what occurs, whether it be dogmen or Sasquatch or, you know, Thunderbirds or Ghost or anything. Once you open yourself up to that, once you fine-tune yourself to that frequency, then I think the abundance can come.
Sure.
And it's up to you, you know, because sometimes it's a little fearful. The unknown, you know, the darkness is scary, you know, and it's your choice. How much into the darkness do you go? And when you go into the darkness, once you realize that you are the light, then you can find the delight in the darkness.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think that's powerful stuff. I think that, you know, this is, Ruthie, by the way, in the chat says, Naysay, I have white buffalo fur. Powerful stuff. It makes your vibe shoot up. That's really cool. And our chat room is talking about what a wonderful person you are. So just so you know.
Oh.
Yeah. You've got
I
fans
appreciate
here.
those words.
You're among family.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of family, it's been an absolute joy to hear you and your son doing the show together.
Oh yeah, that was
great opportunity.
Yeah, I've always been trying to encourage him. Look, you should do a show. He's a good kid, you know, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's got a great personality. So it's been a lot of fun to do that with him. And, you know, I'm hoping he'll embark on a journey like that too. He's just, I don't know, he's just a pleasant guy, and I'm so proud of him. You know, I got 3 wonderful kids. I'm very fortunate that way. I don't know how I managed to pull it off, but, you know, what can I say? He makes me proud.
You know, do you, because I ask my kids, you know, I don't try to poo-poo the paranormal to my kids, because I remember when I was a child and I would bring up things to my father, and my father would be like, that's in your head. There's nothing there. You know, when I would go to him, you know, and my mother would try to nurture, nurture that, you know, that the plausibility is there, you know, and I do ponder, are we socially conditioned from our birth to dull down our senses, you know, because they don't want us to think beyond the box,
Right.
because then we open up the potential, the possibilities.
Right. That's a good point. Anything? What do you think, Don?
No, yeah, absolutely. You know, and I've said it several times before. You know, it's you know, as we grow older, we lose that connection. You know, and you've mentioned it too. You know, that we lose that connection to the innocence that keeps our eyes open. We become more jaded. We go through our angsty teens and we hate everything again. You know, so you know we're and there's many factors of this. Growing up is just one of those factors. The other is, you know, like the foods we eat and the, you know, the processing and things like that. You know, but I won't get into that conspiracy stuff. But it's certainly, you know, I mean, and I've spoke specifically about me, about losing that connection at a young age, because I had to grow up fast. So, you know, I lost that wonder when I was a kid about all of this kind of paranormal, alien, Bigfoot stuff. And so yeah, I agree, the older we get, the less sensitive we are, until we're just things walking around in meat suits, right? And they say,
well, I guess it depends on somebody's extracurricular carnivorous delight of if that's important or not. And that has always been my fear with extraterrestrials. I've made the joke before that there's like a galactic council where one entity is all, oh, that's right, you guys don't speak alien.
No, sorry.
They're saying, you know, those humans, they're going to advance, they're going to evolve, they're going to get it. And then there's that other group that's all like, and they're like, no, they're not. They're a scourge on their planet. Look what they do. We need to just wipe them out. And then there's that third entity that's all wah, 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 wah. And it's like, let us take them. They taste like chicken.
oh, Jesus.
Well, I think that I think that having that childhood wonder, I guess that's one of the things that I've tried to really hang on to in my life, and that's why I love the paranormal so much, is because it keeps me in that state of discovery. You know, I think that kids' eyes are wide open because everything is new. And I think that's what the paranormal is for me. It just shakes me out of my stupor, and it makes me go, yeah, there's fantastic stuff going on here. So it's always really exciting for me, and that's why I love doing this, because it brings all of these things into my world all the time. And I never get bored of it. I never get tired of hearing people's experiences and reading new articles and new ideas and having new discussions about the same things we've discussed hundreds of times before, because everybody brings something new to the table.
There's always something new said. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So it never gets old.
I have a question for you, gentlemen. Have you guys gone back to the site this summer?
Oh, you mean Coloma? No, we didn't go back up.
No, or I can't remember if that's what. Remember when you guys found that structure type area?
Well, yeah, Don can tell you more about that. We got about a minute before break, but go ahead, Don.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, no, I haven't been back there this year. You know, I've got to get a hold of them and ask to come out again. But we were just talking. Who were we just talking to this about? Was it Ken?
I think so.
Were we talking to Ken? Yeah, I think we were talking to Ken
Yes.
Gerhard. Did you send him those pictures, by the way?
Oh, Nate. It was Nate.
Oh, it was Nate. Yeah,
Nate
it was
Rudd.
Nate Rudd.
Yep.
Yeah. We were talking to Nate Rudd, and we were telling him about that structure. And unfortunately, you know, and that was just last weekend. So I I got to call up the folks and see if I can go.
But we did check it
out
several times, and Don, you did especially.
Yeah,
you were out
it
there.
It looks abandoned, like
Yep.
it's just falling in. So, but I haven't checked to see if there's anything new either, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So it did seem like after we visited it,
glass half full.
Whatever was there knew that we were there and decided they didn't want to continue to be there. So it's like as soon as we discovered it, it was no longer.
It was like,
yeah.
Is that a long beard?
I smell people. Get out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our break, but a special thank you, Naysay. We appreciate you joining us, brother. Thank you so much for making the time, and hope you'll come back again soon. Well,
you bet. Freaky Friday.
Next week.
Next week.
All right, brother. And
Friday the 13th. Love you. Toodles.
Love you too. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our hour break, so we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't go away.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not wrong, you get. I'm not wrong.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to hour number 2.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. I was just breathing.
Oh, my.
Calming breath, Don.
Oh.
Because I get so excited about the show, you know, all this anxiety, all this wrapped emotion that I'm
Why
just trying.
anxiety? You've been doing this for 6 years.
I know you think, but look, I even forgot the candles today. It's
Oh,
like,
that's true, yeah.
I've been doing this for 6 years and I'm still forgetting crap. It's like, no, you know, rookie mistakes. But that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are into hour number 2 now of the Paranormal Portal, a Friday edition, wherever you're listening from. Hope you're all comfy and enjoying the ride so far. Got a full hour left to go and a lot more strangeness to dive into.
And a lot of strangeness to dive into.
We got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Some high strangeness to get there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So hope you guys are all ready for hour number 2 because I'm ready to bring it to you. At least as well as I know how to. Oh, hi there.
Oh, gosh.
All right, I wanted to start with this article. In fact, that started playing itself. There's a video interview attached to it, but we're not going to worry about that. It's coming from thehill.com, and ladies and gentlemen, I think this is kind of neat. I haven't read it, so I don't know what it says, but the headline is this. NASA administrator on UFO reports, I don't think we are alone.
There we go. Finally.
That's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're not alone. You're not alone. You got us. Don and I are here. Oh,
Yeah,
hey, if you want to sign up for the Hill, there you go. All right. Anyway, let's get to this article and see what it says. It's in microfiche again. There we go. Now it's Brent font. There's a Brent rating on fonts, ladies and gentlemen, and this is it. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson on Sunday said that he does not think individuals on Earth are alone in the universe, following the release of a United States intelligence report that revealed the U.S. government has encountered more than 140 unidentified aerial phenomena, commonly known as UFOs. I think that's a very conservative number. But,
And there was no intelligence in it.
but it's an intelligence report, Don.
Whatever. Yeah, it's reporting on the non-intelligence in it.
In name only, perhaps. But the intelligence report, which was unclassified on Friday, said the U.S. government has encountered 144 UAP since 2004. Of the sightings, one was identified with high confidence, while others remain a mystery. The 9-page unclassified assessment presented a number of potential explanations for the encounters, including airborne clutter. These are pilots. They should probably know if it's airborne clutter they're seeing. Natural atmospheric phenomena. Uranus off the swamp gas. Top secret U.S. government programs and foreign adversary systems. It also, however, presented a catch-all other. That's a catch-all.
Now it's a catch-all, too.
Catch-all other bin as an additional explanation. What the hell does that mean? Nelson, who has reviewed the unclassified and classified versions of the report, said he believes Earth is not alone in the galaxy. Well, that's great. So I think they've known that since like ancient times, right? We're not the center of the galaxy. Are we alone? Personally, I don't think we are, Nelson said during an interview on CNN, which is a highly accredited news agency. Anyway, the universe is so big, it's like 13.5 billion years old. When the universe started, that's pretty big. But people are hungry for this kind of information, and we're going to keep searching, he added. He said the report says basically what we thought, referring to Navy pilots who previously reported the UAP sightings. We don't know the answer to what these Navy pilots saw. Now, they know that they saw something. They tracked it. They looked at their radar. They locked their radar onto it. They followed it. It would suddenly move quickly from one location to another. And what the report does tell us that is public is that there have been over 140 of these sightings. Ooh. Nelson, a former U.S. Senator from Florida, said, that was the end of the sentence, sorry. Wrong inflection, sorry. He added that the UAP sightings by the Navy pilots may not be extraterrestrial and could possibly be new technology obtained by an adversary country.
Where did they get that technology?
I don't know. Reverse engineering the craft they recovered, Don.
There's no such thing.
Nelson said if the latter is the case, we better be concerned. He said the U.S. does not think that other countries have capabilities to create such flying objects, but cautioned that the universe is so large. So why does he say that?
Yeah.
If we're talking, he thinks it's an adversary country, but the universe is so large.
That's called a
double
right
speak.
Turn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's double speak right there.
That's like left, right. Left, right.
We don't think so, but when it comes to the universe, remember the universe is so large. We have a program in NASA called the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, but thus far we don't have any receipt of communication from something that's intelligent.
Yeah, because they're going to sign it like a certified letter.
Yeah, they're just going to show up
with
certified mail. Nelson said the assessment came after lawmakers inserted the requirement for the reports into last year's intelligence authorization bill following a spike in UFO sightings by U.S. military flyers. Well, there you have it, folks. So he didn't say much anything, actually.
No, just like the intelligence report that was, released. It didn't say a whole lot of anything.
Nope, it was absolutely
There's
a bunch
147 sightings by these Navy pilots, but, it's just space junk. Told you it said nothing.
Yeah, it said nothing.
It didn't say anything. It said a whole lot of nothing.
And this guy repeated that testimony as well.
He just bolstered it, the nothing.
Yeah, he bolstered the nothing. But so nothing groundbreaking there, folks, but I thought I'd share it with you. Just in case there was something worth sharing there. Now to bring us into other UFO stuff. UFOs or UAPs. UAPs. I don't know. It sounds like the sound you make when you fall down the stairs. UAP. When you hit the bottom. I don't know. I'm just saying. It could sound like that. Lost in Space. This is from the U.S. Sun. I didn't know there was a U.S. Sun.
I didn't either.
Well, there is now, folks. USSun.com. Lifestyle Tech-Old. I don't know. When is this? It's from 2021, July 5th. This article, it says, Lost in Space. AI reveals location. Aliens might be hiding their high-tech civilizations in space.
No kidding?
Really?
Wow.
It's true, Don. Scientists...
Paul Hellyer.
Scientists have identified the place where aliens are most likely lurking in the Milky Way. Using computer simulations, the U.S. team determined that the mysterious center of our galaxy represents our best hope for finding ET. They needed AI for that? Seriously? That's where there's the most concentration of star systems, is in the middle. What are the odds that there's going to be aliens there? They needed AI to figure that out? Man, I'm in the wrong line of work. I'm just telling you. Wow. That's assuming other spacefaring civilizations exist at all, of course. A question that remains a hot topic among the world's top experts. The researchers, Penn State and Columbia University, say their findings could help steer future missions to find little green men. Are these people really like... I don't understand. I mean, that's obviously where you would look for intelligent civilizations, is in where there's the most stars.
Look, they're just having these dawning realizations that you have to look beyond the Earth to actually come across extraterrestrials.
Extraterrestrials, yeah. I mean, Where are they going to be? Where there's the most stars? Probably. Wow.
Extraterrestrial.
But it's like these people get paid a lot of money for this stuff.
I know.
And I don't know. My kid with crayons could have figured this out. You know, where do you look for aliens? Where there's the most stars? Probably. Okay, done. I would have taken that funding, and we could have had it back to them in no time.
Yeah, and we'd be rich.
Yeah, you know that's multi-million-dollar funding for sure. Computer models were built by the team to determine how alien life might spread across the universe. They assumed that an extraterrestrial civilization used ships.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, this is revolutionary, Don.
I know. These are things I would have never imagined.
How did people first travel? They used ships too. Wow. Okay. That travel at speed comparable to our own spacecraft, about 18 miles per second. Why would they assume that? They were assuming that they use ships that travel at speed comparable to our own. After a ship arrives at a virtual habitable world, in the simulation, it's considered to have formed a colony after 100,000 years. It took 100,000 years to make a colony down. The colony is then able to launch its own spacecraft, which can travel at to an uninhabited world if one is within range. The results show a wave or front of colonization before the nomadic aliens reached the galaxy's core. Well, maybe they started there, and it made it a lot quicker. After this, the rate of colonization skyrockets, even with conservative limits on the speed of ships. A galaxy could be colonized after 1 billion years. What may sound like a long time when you consider that the Milky Way galaxy is 13 billion years old, it's a small slice of lifetime of a galaxy. The results were published in the American Astronomical Society, hints that the core of our galaxy might be the best place to look for aliens, and that's because, according to the simulation, it's most likely point at which a civilization proliferates at a rapid pace. Again, this is head scratching. I'm not even going to read the science facts here. Not only is our galaxy center more likely than anywhere else to house little green men. I wish they wouldn't use that term because that's just so demeaning. It's like, oh, the little green men. You know, it's like their chuckly way to, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's such a demeaning way to encapsulate this. I mean, yeah, we're looking for little green men. We're looking for them. We're getting money for this. Jesus. I don't get it. Telescopes on Earth have a direct line of sight to the dense region of space, making scanning it for technology a walk in the park, sort of. The center is also filled with our galaxy's oldest planets. Why wouldn't they have started there then, right?
The center.
Providing more time for extraterrestrial life to have emerged. So if the spot is ripe for the growth of civilizations, why haven't we run into ET yet? Wow. This is the kind of brain trusts that are doing this research, folks. So I haven't run into them yet. Lots of reasons, according to the researchers, like space is big. Maybe that's a start. Space is big.
No.
Yes, it is, Don. It's huge. It's possible alien colonies die out before reaching us, or that civilizations take care to not interfere with inhabited planets such as ours.
Thank you.
Because we're doing such a great job, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
We're banging this out.
Around.
Whatever you believe, the study shows that rapid colonization can take place with relatively simple technology and in a short period of time. Even very conservative rates of settlement ship launches and ship ranges can quickly lead to galaxy endemic with technology. I don't know. I just couldn't read there for a second. Researchers wrote, the research comes on the cusp of the launch of NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, which will scan alien atmospheres for signs of life. There you go, folks. That's the article. This is the kind of hard-hitting research that's being funded by your tax dollars. So I hope you guys feel like that's money's well spent. What do you think, Don?
I think there was a reason that they used these kinds of I can't even get it out for like MIB. Remember in MIB?
Sure.
It's time to hit the hot sheets.
Yeah.
Because I can't believe that those hot sheets, air quotes, do tell more truth than the regular. But it is the sun.
I don't know what the sun is though.
U.S.
Is
sun.
Isn't there like a UK sun that's like a? I mean, it's kind of
the
a.
sun is UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rupert Murdoch.
Oh,
let me check that out. I don't know. I'm not for sure.
might explain a lot. Not that I know much about Rupert Murdoch, but I know he's one of the big billionaire peoples.
Huge, yeah. He owns all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so
let me see here.
Okay, we're researching
The Sun
this.
is a British tabloid newspaper as broadsheet, founded in 1964. I don't see anything that says Rupert Murdoch right away. Oh, well, there it is. Okay, there you go.
You were saying?
Yes. Well, I found it. So, yes, it is. Anyhow, but yes, there you go.
Okay, I thought you were coming with some hard-hitting something.
No, just finding the facts here.
No, Rupert Murdoch is probably
his first name is actually Keith.
Oh, is it Keith?
Mm-hmm.
Keith Murdoch. Okay, I can see why he went with Rupert.
Yes.
Maybe that sounds more billionaire-y.
Yeah, it sounds
I don't
more,
know. I think Keith's a cool name though.
douchey.
All right. All right, this is an article from curiousmos.com. It's the word curious with MOS at the end. .com. And this is something I've been really anxious to kind of dig into on the show. Let me blow it up a little bit. I'm going to be fighting the break here a little bit because it's coming up quick. But let me get to this. And this is this has to do with the Piri Reis map. Does this ancient map show Antarctica free of ice? This is something I thought was really fascinating. I heard about this years ago, years and years ago, as a matter of fact. But it's allegedly an ancient map that shows Antarctica being normal temperature climate, just like other places in the Earth, and free of ice. So there was a time, apparently, that even it is potentially even mapped as such. This map is said to depict Antarctica void of its kilometer-thick ice sheets. But what is the truth behind this enigmatic ancient chart? Does the Piri Reis map really show Antarctica free from ice? There have been countless maps discovered throughout history that have remained an enigma to both scholars and skeptics, composed around 1513 from military intelligence by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis. Today, only around 1/3 of the map remains in existence. Well, that's sad. The ancient map shows Europe's western coasts and North Africa and Brazil's coast with reasonable accuracy. Various Atlantic islands, include the Azores and the Canary Islands, are depicted, as is the mythical island of Antillia and possibly Japan. A map unlike any other. This is the map itself, which is really wild. It says, surviving fragments of the Piri Reis map showing Central and South American coasts. Anyway, but more recently it has been revealed that the map, which is based on much older charts of the world, depicts the continent of Antarctica free from ice. The map, drawn on gazelle skin parchment, was presented to Ottoman Sultan Selim in 1517. In the map's legend, Piri inscribed that the map was based on about 20 charts and mappe mundi. I don't know what that means, but according to Piri, these maps included 8 Ptolemaic maps, an Arabic map of India, 4 newly drawn Portuguese maps from Sind, and a map by Christopher Columbus of the Western lands. It says, from 8, oh man, this is going to have some weird words, Jaffarias of that kind, and 1 Arabic map of Hindi, India, and from 4 newly drawn Portuguese maps, which show countries of Sind, now in modern-day Pakistan, Hindi and Sind, China, geometrically drawn, and also from a map drawn by this person, Columbu, okay. In the western region, I have extracted it by reducing all of these maps to one scale. This final form was arrived at, so that this map of these lands is regarded by seamen as accurate and as reliable as the accuracy and reliability of the 7 seas on the aforesaid maps. The perfection and the details of the map have been the subject of debate among scholars for decades.
Centuries.
Experts have been unable to understand nor explain the supposed extreme precision of the map. Today, as noted by authors such as Charles Hapgood and Gavin Menzies and others, various enigmas remain standing about the Piri map, or the Piri-Reis map, especially in regards to Latin America and the southern regions of our planet, as the map supposedly outlines the Antarctic continent, but with rivers and mountains that would not have been visible if the continent was covered in ice. This has led some of them to argue that someone somehow must have traveled to Antarctica when it was free of ice. Ice in Antarctica appeared relatively suddenly, and by suddenly, we mean in geologic terms about 35 million years ago. Wow. Then I think about the London Hammer and stuff, 200 or 300 million years ago. Right. It was embedded in that substrate that became the rock. Right. But for these previous 100 million years, the icy continent remained ice-free. It is thought that ice formed on the Antarctic continent in only about 100,000 years, which is an overnight shift in geological terms. This means that it was 35 million years ago when the continent was last ice-free. Today, as much as 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice that averages 1.9 kilometer, 1.2 miles, or 6,200 feet, in thickness and extends to all but the most northern reaches of the Antarctic Peninsula. The first exploratory navigation that reached Antarctica was led by British explorer James Cook, who in 1772 only managed to see snow and ice. This was supposedly 250 years after the Piri-Reis map had already drawn Antarctica on navigational charts showing the continent free of ice. In 1819, Fabian von Bellenshausen discovered the landmass of Antarctica for the first time, and in 1950, American expedition Deep Freeze managed to reveal the geography of the icy continent. What experts think. In 1960, Professor Charles Hapgood of Keene College contacted the U.S. Air Force and asked them to review the map and its details, and this was their supposed response. It's the 8th Reconnaissance Technical Squadron, United States Air Force. Reply, and it says the 6th of July, 1960, to Professor Hapgood. Dear Professor Hapgood, your request for evaluating certain unusual features in the Piri-Reis world map of 1513 by this organization has been reviewed. The claim that the lower part of the map portrays the Princess Martha coast of Queen Maud Land, Antarctic, and the Palmer Peninsula is reasonable. We find that this is the most logical and, in all probability, the map's correct interpretation. The geographical detail shown in the lower part of the map agrees remarkably with the seismic profile results made across the top of the ice cap by the Swedish, British, Norwegian Antarctic expedition of 1949. This indicates the coastline had been mapped before the ice cap covered it. The ice cap in this region is now about a mile thick. We have no idea how the data on this map can be reconciled with the supposed state of geographical knowledge in 1513. And that was by Harold Ohlmeyer, Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Air Force Commander. And in another letter, he says, it's not very often that we have an opportunity to evaluate maps of ancient origin. The Piri-Reis map and Orontius Phineas maps sent to us by you presented a delightful challenge, for it was not readily conceivable that they could be so accurate without being forged. We accepted this challenge with added enthusiasm and expanded many off-duty hours evaluating your manuscript. And the above maps, I am sure you will be pleased to know, we have concluded that both of these maps were compiled from accurate source maps, irrespective of dates. The following is a brief summary of our findings, and there's a lot of them. It's a long, long letter. We only have about a minute before break, but don't do that. I just want to get to the conclusion. But those who disagree with what Professor Hapgood and other authors propose indicate that there is a far more logical explanation. Those with skeptical views about the Piri-Reis map showing Antarctica ice-free indicate that the map may be a fair representation of the South America's coastline. Another less accepted theory attempts to correlate the American outline map of Piri-Reis with the coastal Venezuela and Brazil. And there they are, making those correlations. At any rate, there's a lot more of this article than I think we're going to have time for here. But I'm going to put the link in the chats. There's a lot to uncover here, and it's very, very, very interesting. And I'm sorry that I couldn't cover it in detail, but we just ran out of time here. But let me put these links in because I find this incredibly interesting. I hope you guys agree. I think that it's fascinating to think that people were mapping this stuff out probably into the ancient times.
Right.
And it does kind of help correlate the artifacts out of time, the things that are found embedded in rock,
Right.
like machined aluminum and hammers and things like that shouldn't be there. So
Right.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of mystery left in this world, folks. Maybe we've been around a lot longer than we're led to believe. And maybe it's because the people that are leading us to believe that don't know and aren't willing to look into it for whatever reason. But we're going to go to our last break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. There's more of the Paranormal Portal coming up in just a couple minutes, last half hour of the show. Hope you stick around because it's going to be good. All right, we'll be right back.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last half hour of our show. Of course, we're having a great time, and it's great to see you all out here with us, enjoying the ride, hopefully. There's just a few of you in TFR. Daryl Bowles is over there. All One is there. Bam is there. And I'm there. And who we got in YouTube, Don?
YouTube? You mean there's people in the YouTube?
YouTubes.
All right, well, let's see what we got
They're
here.
stuck in the YouTubes.
Let's see here. Oh, my. So far, we have Bobby Simpson, who is a fan of our friend
guys.
Zach. Oh, goodness. Zach Hubbard from Gematria.
Oh, very good.
Digger Dog. Jessica's here. Hi, Jess. Lunatic Fringe, Mr. MCat. We've got Tanasi in the house, Miss Maggie M10. Got Rafaela. Ruthie, of course. There's Julia just traipsed in. Trace Linnell. That's a fairly new name to me. Hi,
very cool.
How are you? Wonder Woman just came in. And then Wynn Wilson. That's a fairly new name to me. Maybe I'm just
welcome.
I'm just late. I'm like that sometimes. Andrew Purity. Justin Goodearth, there you are. I saw you earlier. Rachel Gets It Right.
MCat.
And did I say MCat? Oh, did I miss MCat? How can I miss MCat?
He says present. So.
Present. And now accounted for. So there you go. That's shout outs for there. And, well, welcome.
I don't know where Portal Mom is tonight. She might be just listening, though.
Geeky Gardens just popped in just before I closed it.
Geeky Gardens did?
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, no, Portal Mom was here on Wednesday with us when Bear was here. Yeah.
Yep.
There was actually a bear in the portal. It actually was a bear.
And for the first time, it actually was a bear.
Yeah.
It was a bear. Likes, please. Yeah, please hit those likes.
Oh, isn't that just sweet? Rachel Gets It Right says the map to the paranormal portal is within our hearts. Wow.
Wow. That gets you a big virtual hug. Bring it in. Group hug. All right. That's all I got.
Wink, wink.
I found another one of these, though. I like this Curiosmos site because they got one in here about Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu?
Yeah, that it's much older than
that place down in Peru?
That place.
Wow.
I think we can read through that, right?
Yeah.
I think so. And then we'll just hit a few short stories on the way to the finish line.
I know you can.
I will do my bestest.
I know you can.
I actually inhaled a pretzel during break. So
he said the pretzel went down his tube wrong.
I can't actually eat through my lungs. I just found that out.
Yeah, it's kind of not connected to the stomach.
Didn't work out real well. I watched the show with Vic, and now I'm hooked on the Dogman Encounters. Good, very cool.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, Vic was a great guest. We got to get him back on too.
Yeah, we do.
We got to do that. There's so much on the to-do list that it's just growing exponentially, and it's there's only so many days or many hours in the days in the weeks, but I'm doing the best I can. But yeah, I've been thinking about getting Vic back because it was a fantastic show, and it was a great discussion, and he was a lot of fun. Excuse me. Hold on.
Apparently Elaine's having a problem too. She said she threw up a little in her mouth.
Why?
I don't know.
Did something? Is it something I said, or is it? Where are we going with this?
Wow. Do I need to be taken off camera?
What's
face for radio and a voice for silent movies?
Oof. There it is. All right. Well, let's get to this one. And this is an article that has to do with Machu Picchu, which I think is a really fascinating site because, of course, it's on top of the mountains, several thousand feet up in elevation where there's not a lot of oxygen. It doesn't seem like. Maybe there's more there than I think, but it is surrounded by all those rainforests and stuff. But my God, you ever look at those? Do you ever watch those videos down where they show people walking those paths? Yeah. They're absolutely terrifying. These people were absolutely braver than hell. I mean, there was no there was no parachutes in case you slipped or anything. It was just if you slipped, it was game over. That was it.
Done.
It was a done deal.
It's like falling down a mountain.
I know, and this is, you don't throw the stick too hard for the dog either, because,
Have you ever seen the more ancient pictures of Machu Picchu?
No.
Before it was excavated?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Is that pretty wild?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's read this article, and if we got time, we'll get into those.
I'll find some. Yeah.
All right, so they say, it says decades older than anyone knew. Well, decades isn't really a big deal when you're thinking of this kind of age, but let's see what it says. It says Machu Picchu is much older than previously thought. 10 things you need to know. decades older than anyone knew. This is written by whom? Vladislav Chekharov. Okay. Posted on August 4th, 2021. So it's a very new article. It's about a 3-minute read, so we're going to have plenty of time, it says. Unless that's normal people reading. My reading is much slower than that. So we'll probably get it in a half hour here. It says, American archaeologists carried out radiocarbon dating of 26 human bones and teeth recovered from cave burials at Machu Picchu. The study showed that the ancient city of the Incas remained inhabited until 1530, and the first inhabitants were here no later than 1420, which is almost 20 years earlier than the previous estimate. Okay. That's not really that earth-shattering, though, is it? When they said it was much older, I was thinking, is it thousands of years older? What does that mean? All right, let's continue, though. Everything you need to know about Machu Picchu and its founding dates. Machu Picchu is one of the most famous archaeological sites that remained unknown to the outside world until 1911, when it was discovered by the American historian Hiram Bingham. Excuse me. The abandoned city, built as the residence of the emperor, sits on top of a mountain range at an altitude of 2,450 meters above sea level. Well, we're at 2,500 here, so maybe it's not as high as I thought. Although the Inca Empire was destroyed in the early 16th century by the Spanish conquistadors led by Francisco Pizarro, Machu Picchu remained untouched. Going down, archaeological research at the site has been going on since the beginning of the 20th century. In total, scientists have found more than 150 buildings for various purposes: temples, private houses, small palaces. Seriously, there's palaces on that?
Uh-huh.
Wow. It must have been dinky.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of real estate to work with there.
Really.
But still, wow, okay. All right. Machu Picchu has never been a large settlement. According to archaeologists, no more than 750 people lived there, most of whom were servants. In addition to the remains of people in Machu Picchu, bones of llamas, alpacas, as well as guinea pigs, which were sacrificed as part of funeral rituals, were found. They analyzed 26 human samples. Richard Berger from Yale University, together with scientists from the United States, presented the results of radiocarbon analysis of 26 samples of human bones and teeth. The lack of reliable dating for this ancient city as a result of the widespread opinion among archaeologists that such an analysis is unnecessary, since the chronology can be established from Spanish historical records. Machu Picchu was built in ? Historians believed, interpreting medieval texts, that Machu Picchu was built as part of an imperial residence in 1438. The new analysis, however, revealed that the city was built much earlier. See below. Yep, that's a map. It's burial caves. More than 100 graves. The examined bone samples belonged to people buried in the burial caves at Machu Picchu. During excavations in 1912, archaeologists found 104 graves, and most of them had little inventory, which indicates that they belonged to the servants and not the Inca elite. No signs of physical labor. The past paleopathological studies have shown that these people did not engage in heavy physical labor, such as construction, and did not receive serious injuries as a result of violence. It is noteworthy that morphological and isotope analysis, I think is what they meant there, indicated that the ethnic diversity of the local population. Calibrated radiocarbon dating from the study indicates that Machu Picchu was continuously inhabited between 1420 and 1530, so 110 years. None of the 26 specimens were dated to the 14th century, which is consistent with the ceramic collections indicating the absence of pre-imperial occupation of the site. Scientists also found that several graves contained remains of people who were buried at different times. And that's the whole thing. I don't know. It wasn't really earth-shattering. It was built in what? It says ? And it doesn't really give a date. So anyway, that's Machu Picchu. I was expecting a hell of a lot more than what we got, but
yep, sure enough.
That's what we get, folks. We're just diving in head first into all this paranormal fun. And that wasn't really even paranormal, so it was probably a colossal waste of time in several ways.
It does fit into the whole,
ancient civilizations.
Ancient civilization. and especially when we talk about advanced civilization too, because it falls right into that whole thing. Because some of those, like is spoke about all the time about ancient civilizations and their precision with their building. It's really
like Puma Punka and stuff.
Yeah, it's not normal. So
yeah, with laser precision, that's some of those blocks, those huge, multi-ton blocks that were fit. You can't even put a sheet of paper between them. The fit is so perfect. At Paranormal Portal, Rachel says, lost civilizations, they do bring up the possibility of past civilizations that our sciences have not taken notice of because they don't fit in with the majority of scientific study.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good point. And, you got to wonder, okay, so what else was found in South America? Well, the elongated skulls, right?
True.
Now, is it possible that maybe they were the royalty? You never know. Just saying. I don't know. But there was obviously a presence of a people in South America that may or may not have been actually human, but are some kind of other branch of the humanoid tree, maybe not even of this world. So
you mean like maybe non-terrestrial?
Non-terrestrial or extraterrestrial. As it were. Extra. Read all about it. But anyway, so I guess that brings us to this, which is, I'm hoping I can, this one's going to be too long. Unfortunately, I only got 14 minutes. So we're going to go to a different one. I'll read it tomorrow. It's going to be, basically, it's an article by Brent Swanser that speaks about the Ostman kidnapping, Albert Ostman, who was allegedly kidnapped by a family of Sasquatch.
And tried to feed him a can of snooze.
Don't give it away, Don, in case somebody's not heard the story.
That's how I'll leave it.
That's how he'll leave it, ladies and gentlemen. But it is a great story. Where in the hell is it? That
you can hear that story at our podcast, Paranormal Portal, on Spotify, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play,
Pandora,
all your major. You can go see that. You can go listen to that on the podcast.
Yes, you can. I just recorded the Bauman incident, which is the one that was recorded by Teddy Roosevelt.
Yep.
But a season or two ago, I did the Ostman incident, where I read Albert Ostman's account from beginning to end, and it's a fascinating story. And if you haven't heard that one, go back into our podcast archives and look for the Albert Ostman experience. It's an incredible story. So it's one of those, again, from a long time ago. That's like 1920, I think, is around the time when he claims that he was taken.
Right.
And fascinating story. Whether you believe it or not, it's a hell of a story. And I believe the guy. I really do. I think that it's very credible. I know John Green believed it too. So here's an article from ranker.com. And this is written by Linda Myers, or at least it was aggregated by her. I'm not sure if they did Reddit grabs again, but it says, people share their most wholesome ghost stories and paranormal experiences. So this is kind of sweet. I don't know how far we'll get. This will probably be one we'll continue reading tomorrow night. But here's the first one. It says, what took so long, John? It was posted by Black Dahlia, Black_Dahlia.
Oh.
My great-grandmother watched my great-grandfather pass, and they were truly in love forever. After he left, she woke up every morning and said, damn it, because she was ready to pass away. My great-aunts would hear her talking on a baby monitor they set up, talking to members of the family who had already passed, and finally one afternoon, they heard her go, John, finally, why are you always late? Well, they were frozen, as John was my great-grandfather's name. They walked in 10 minutes later, and she had passed away. She was just waiting for her husband to come get her. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. I hope we can all be so fortunate that one of our dear loved ones will be there to help bring us home. Number 2, Grandpa helps a mother cope. This is by Raw Non-Accomplishment. I've had 2 miscarriages. I miscarried my first pregnancy, then had my son. I was pregnant for a 3rd time and had a dream about my recently deceased grandfather. In the dream, we were having a picnic, me and my son, my grandfather, an older boy, and I was holding a beautiful brown-eyed little girl. I knew they were all my babies. My grandfather told me, you take, and this is the son's name, to the park. I'll watch over these two. It was so peaceful. I gave the baby to him, and my son and I walked away, and I found out 2 days later that I had miscarried again. I believe that was my grandpa telling me that he was watching over the 2 babies I lost or was about to lose. See, that's, again, beautiful. Having dealt with, the anticipation of a child and having it ended in miscarriage, it's a heartbreaker. It happens, and there's not much you can do about it, but it's still, when you have that anticipation for having this child come into the world and you're telling everybody about it, and then all of a sudden it's empty. And then you've got to deal with your own grief and then let everybody else know as well. And it's just horrendous. And that was the mistake I made when I was a much younger man, is you got to wait till after that first trimester. That's the key. And it's been that way. If, all 3 of my boys after the first trimester, we were good to go. But there was a couple times that it didn't quite make it. And it was very, very, very devastating the first time, for sure. The second time I was much more apprehensive. But the perfect final resting place is the next one. This is posted by alligator_P1E or Pi.
Oh, dude, no.
Well, Anubis came to see you.
Have fun. Have fun, buddy.
After my grandmother passed away, I bought some of her ashes home with me in a little baggie. Of course, with the intent of buying a lovely little urn to put them in and display somewhere. Well, they sat in my kitchen for a couple of days, and I figured it was just kind of irresponsible to leave human remains in plain sight in a main room of the house, so I decided to hide them in my room until I could figure out the perfect place of honor for them. Well, I picked up the baggie and walked down the hall to my room. The moment I passed through the doorway, I got this horrible, sick feeling from head to toe, like every bone in my body was objecting. It felt like a resounding nope. I turned right around and walked back to the kitchen. The feeling completely disappeared, and suddenly I realized Grandma was the very best cook I've ever known, and feeding her family was her greatest joy. Of course, she'd want me to be in the kitchen where she could supervise. I felt as though she was trying to make it very clear that I shouldn't move her anywhere else. I said, okay, I get it. You can stay in the kitchen if that's what makes you happy. And then I tucked the ashes away in the cupboard above the fridge. They've since been placed in a lovely container, and the weird feeling has never returned. I'd like to think that she's glad that I heard her request. Now I always feel happy when I cook because I know she's right here with me to make sure I'm doing my best.
And a little pinch of this special love.
That's the secret ingredient, Don.
It is.
Yeah.
Grandma's ashes.
No.
Oh.
I got that wrong. No, that is not the secret ingredient. That's disturbing. It saved their child's life is the next one, posted by 10% of nothing. My aunt and uncle lived in a haunted house, and they've heard footsteps, doors opening when no one else was there, etc. And one cousin described a ghost he saw in detail, old woman in a long dress. The house was built pre-Civil War, and they've lived in it for over 30 years now. The best story involves that same cousin above. When he was less than 3 months old, he was attached to a heart monitor that would go off if he stopped breathing. The rules for the monitor that were the parents has to be on the same floor as the baby while the baby slept. Well, it was July, and my aunt was desperate for a shower, so she left him sleeping at the bottom of the stairs, and at the very top of the stairs was the door to the bathroom, which she left open and hopped in the shower. About 30 seconds of the water running, and it just shut off completely. As soon as it did, she heard the monitor's alarm going off. She ran down the stairs, soaking wet, and my cousin's face was blue. She pulled away the blankets he had tucked around him, and that motion was enough to get him to start breathing again, and his face to go pink. The shower worked perfectly fine later. There was never any explanation for it shutting off. My aunt wasn't sure if it was the ghost or divine intervention. Well, both. Both. I firmly believe that sometimes these spirits that are around us become our guardian angels, and then therefore it becomes divine intervention. They are divine as well. But a beautiful story. My God. I couldn't imagine how much of a heartbreaker that would be. But the water actually shut off, Don.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then she heard the crying.
Right.
Or the alarm, rather, not the crying. Yeah. Very incredible. Number 5, Give the Man His Money by Beta 19941. That's not a date. So, a coworker told me this story. Her husband had passed away from cancer, and he was a workaholic. He had thousands of hours of overtime not cashed out by the time he was almost gone. His boss promised him and his wife that he would, of course, pay her what was due as soon as he passed so that she needn't worry about money for a while. Then he was gone, and the boss gave her, like, I don't know, is this pounds?
500 euro.
5,000 euro.
Right.
And said that this was all and left. They had all of his home overtime on their computer at home, which didn't work anymore, so she was kind of screwed. But one evening, when she was extremely desperate for him and had a mental breakdown, then she suddenly felt the need to go to the computer. And it worked all of a sudden. She printed out his overtime sheets as fast as she could and turned off the PC. The next day, it didn't work again and never did again. Anyway, so on the sheets, which were signed by the boss, of course, she found she would get over 50,000 euros. Took a lawyer and, of course, won. Got the money and had a year for herself and her son to grieve and not worry about money, which was healsome. I've never heard that word before. Healsome. Enough that she's now on her feet again. She's convinced her late husband had made that possible, and the way she told me about that evening is really spooky. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, the one time that computer needed to work more than any other time, and it did, just for long enough to print off those sheets. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Here we go. Dad warms up by the fire. 3 minutes left on. Can you believe it?
Wow.
This is by Bubbly 1966. My dad passed away in 2001. 2 weeks after, my husband and I had done some clearing out of his house, which we also moved into, and we'd been burning stuff in the burn pile, and Dad always stayed with the fire until it was completely out. That evening, we left it smoldering. We went to bed. My husband told me to look out the window, and I looked and saw my dad sitting at the lawn chair in front of the burn pit. It was so clear. He was wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, and he also had on his favorite baseball cap, which had a white emblem, and I remember that clearly because the moonlight was shining on it. I called for my daughter and just told her to look out the window and tell me what she saw. She said, "That's Papa." He was not facing the windows, so I didn't have a full view, and I have never seen a ghost before or after. But as crazy as that story is, it is 100% truth. Wow, that's really cool. Everybody got to see it too.
Right.
Like he stayed there and did that. And that must have been, beautiful. That must be a beautiful experience. I mean, that's a pretty non-threatening way to see, to see someone like that.
The operation is outside.
At the burn pit.
And
you can see it through a window. And, I imagine, you'd probably want to just run out and just, see if you could grab that moment. But I'm sure that if they had tried, he would have just...
I'm sure if they would have blinked or turned away, it would
right.
have been gone, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right, we got time maybe for one more. This one. Supernatural AC, posted by Ink Smudged Hands. I live in a haunted house during a part of my childhood. I lived, rather. The ghost wasn't one of those get-out ghosts. Rather, it was just roam around.
It was no fun.
Making lights flicker, closing doors, and jiggling doorknobs. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
The upside to having it around is that no matter what, the house was always cold. I mean, like a constant 65 degrees Fahrenheit cold. This may not seem like a wholesome thing, but I'm telling you, this house was in coastal Virginia. We would get swamp-thick summers there, and like you would go out to get the mail at the end of the driveway and come back drenched in sweat. It was that god-awful hot and humid. And while houses around us had their AC units breaking down left and right over the years due to the overuse, it never stopped being cold in ours. Even during hurricane season when there were blackouts and everyone's moaning about how hot it was because the lack of power meant a lack of AC, our house was always still cold. Thanks to that flippin' ghost. Best supernatural air conditioning system ever.
Yeah, but the problem is 65 Fahrenheit's not very warm when it's winter.
Well, you can always put on layers, but you can only take off so much, you know.
Thank God.
Yeah. Well, with me, you want to leave on as much as you can. You want to leave on as much as you can. I'm just saying, that's paranormal. That's paranormal in itself. I see myself naked, and nobody should have to go through that. I'm just saying.
40 seconds.
40 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Don, anything quick?
Nope.
All right. Well, join us again tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Stick around. Paisley Wild's coming up next. The Spaces Between. Don't miss it.
Good night.
You can catch her on YouTube as well. So, youtube.com/spacesbetween. Good night. Love you. See ya.